I didn't see you there. Welcome to the podcast, A Mutual Understanding. We want to say thanks for joining in today and sitting around the table with the boys. My name's Noah McLaren.
My name is Steve Bianchi.
I am Nathan Liberti. I just got back from the beach.
I'm Joe Rosado. It's a pleasure to be here today.
All right, so this is episode 2 of A Mutual Understanding. And I believe last time we left off talking about how we were going to talk about the Raven theory. We're actually going to hold off on that because this is not Nathan Liberti. This is my brother Sam McLaren.
Hello.
And we want to wait till Nathan's back to talk about the Raven theory. But Sam, tell us a little about yourself. If there were a few bullet points of things that you would want people to know about you, what would they be?
My name is Samuel McLaren. I went to RIT for school for business management and then didn't end up using that for anything. I enjoy what I do for work, but I mostly enjoy playing worship music at church, and that's a huge portion of my life. I like comedy, love comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Very happy to be here today. Excited to see what today holds.
What are some of your hobbies?
What are some of my hobbies?
Yeah.
I play music and I sleep.
But don't you play video games?
I do. I mean, we're dudes in our 20s mostly. Like that's what we do. We play video games. I was a huge fan of Skyrim. I was late to the game for Skyrim actually. Started in college years after it actually came out. Played Skyrim for way longer than was appropriate to. I put more hours into that than my college education. I have 5 different families in Skyrim right now. It's nuts. And then after that, almost got into Minecraft. Got out of that before I went too deep because I was gonna be lost in Minecraft. I would have been in a hole somewhere, building a house or something. No, video games are big. Play Destiny 2 with my dad right now. Destiny, I know, is pretty big. It's a pretty basic game for everyone to play. Tried to get into Fortnite. I was late to the game for that one too, and just got wrecked over and over again. So I don't mess with that anymore unless I'm playing with people that want to mess around instead of winning.
I can't play Fortnite. I can't bring myself to do it.
I always thought it'd be cool if we just one time we just live stream ourselves playing a game together.
Yes.
I think that'd be
I'd
fun.
be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. My only thing is I don't have live or whatever for
I'll pay for it
PSN.
for you. I don't care.
Okay.
I'll hook you up for a whole year.
Dangly. We'll have to figure out a game too. What would that game? Fortnite?
I mean, I made it sound like I have money. I don't have money, but I'd hook him up because he's my brother.
If it's multiplayer and I would say appropriateness, Red Dead
obviously.
2.
Dude, that's...
Oh, okay.
Listen, I've been waiting for this game for 8 years. I am excited for Red Dead 2. You won't see me for a month. I'm just going to be in my room playing Red Dead.
It might not be, but we'll hit up those parent guys.
We wanted to start a clan called the Jones Boys. Was it the Jones Boys?
I think so. We're the Jones Brothers. It was one of the two.
The Jones Brothers?
Bro,
And then we're just going to rob banks.
Bro, the cool thing about Red Dead 2 is that we can start a gang and our supporters can play with us.
Oh,
We could just have a huge posse of 80
rob
people just popping doors.
Hey, go stand in a circle over there. Drop all your equipment.
Just throw some dynamite in the circle of people. Oh, it's not lit. It's not lit. It's lit.
So Red Dead 1, I've never played it. I just know you're a cowboy with a gun.
I've beaten it 4 times. The game takes literally about 30 to 40 hours to beat. Sam Skyrim is Joe Red Dead 1.
Oh, okay.
So it's got Game of the Year multiple times.
Wow.
Excellent game. If you haven't played it, it's definitely worth the 30 hours. The cinematics are great. The storyline's great. It's fantastic.
See, I bought it and I played it and I got pretty far. I was told that I got pretty far into it. What happened was I got attacked by 3 bears in a row. So I killed the first one, and as I was about to skin the first one, another one came out and smacked me. And I killed that one, and I thought, man, I should be safe now. I wasn't. The 3rd bear came out and killed me, and I rage quit, and I haven't touched Red Dead Redemption since. And that was 2 years ago. It was bad. It impacted me.
That's me and Crash Bandicoot. I bought Crash Bandicoot for the PS4. I was super excited. I loved Crash Bandicoot as a kid. Still on World 1. Or the first game, still on World 1. It's one platforming level. I rage quit probably about 8 months ago, and I haven't turned the game on since.
Well, because it's like the Dark Souls of classic games. Like it really messes you up.
The one game I've played where I came to a point in it where I just couldn't continue on was Uncharted, the first one. And not because it was too hard, but because it was too scary.
Yes.
That's why I stopped playing it, because I got to the part where those like little creature things.
Yeah, they start chasing you down the
Yeah,
hallway, and
down
the
the hallway.
perspective is messing you up.
Yeah, and then also in the dark hallway of the ship, I've never picked. That was years ago. So like now I'm sure it wouldn't be that scary to me. But just in my mind, I'm like, it's too scary. That's why I stopped playing back like before high school. Yeah.
So Red Dead 2, that's the thing, man.
Yeah, I feel
That's gonna be a
I
thing.
feel like we'll definitely probably have to see if it
We'll
is
have to
okay.
We'll have to give it a test first.
Yeah.
Backup is Fortnite.
Backup
Back
is
up with
Fortnite.
Fortnite. I will get Fortnite for it.
Well, it's
for
free.
the
It's
live
free.
stream.
It's free.
Yeah, well you have to download it
Just
though.
don't buy the costumes.
No,
Bro, buy
no.
at least one costume. Treat yourself.
Treat myself.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, it'll be like $5 and you get a costume.
Okay.
Yeah, get
I
a
think.
costume.
Oh, all right. Steve goes, don't get a costume.
Dave Ramsey approved.
Steve goes, hey,
Dave Ramsey
get
approved.
a costume.
Dave Ramsey doesn't approve of video games, I would assume.
I know.
But, I
That's
mean,
that's the joke. That's the running joke Steve and I
Dave
have.
Ramsey.
So whatever
of
we
random wastes of money.
So Dave Ramsey, he's very good about money and stuff.
Mhm.
But anytime Steve and I are gonna do anything kind of reckless with money or stupid, we say Dave Ramsey approved, so that we can just go ahead and buy whatever we want.
That's like a Aziz Ansar or whatever his name is, walking up here and being like, treat yourself as soon as you feel like buying something,
Bro,
and then you're
yeah.
like, oh, well, if he
Bro,
says it's
I
okay,
do
it's
that.
okay.
I do that to my girlfriend as well. I said, "You're worth it. Treat yourself."
You're worth it.
That's like the worst habit.
And
to
then
get
she
into.
buys it. And
That is the worst habit to get into, but it feels so good.
it does.
I talked someone into getting, it's like, it must be like ashtray or something, but it's got a cat on it and it says, be meowgical. I talked them into buying that from it was like the biggest waste of money, and she was like, should I buy this? And I was like, absolutely, yes. Like, there's no downside to purchasing that.
Your cat's
She doesn't
worth it.
smoke. So I don't know what it's actually for, but it's going to be sitting on her table
It's
saying
a
be
conversation
meowgical.
piece.
It is a conversation
It's
piece.
like the bear on my wall. It's a
The conversation exactly for that piece, though, is why did you buy this? And then it's 100% because of the pod.
So, Joe, tell us the story behind the bear. I heard that you were lost
Yeah.
in the Canadian wilderness.
So it starts back in the days. You know, there's different ranks in Boy Scouts, like Eagle Scouts top. But then I have the self-proclaimed Indian Scout, which is above Eagle Scout.
Yes.
Sorry, Boy Scouts. But there's one day while I was in the wilderness, and I was just chilling, you know, hunting. I like to hunt, and I was in the wilderness, and this bear, this brown bear, black bear, came up to me.
It was both.
While I was,
it was
it was both.
It was biracial
It was the
bear.
biracial bear, and I was chilling in a bush, and I just waited for it. It made eye contact with me in the bush. I saw its eyes glisten, and I came with a Bowie knife and got it right under the jugular
dang.
and wrestled it to the ground. I then took that pelt, cleaned it up. I left the meat there. I just wanted the pelt.
I love the meat there for the. That's for mother. That's for Mother Nature.
That's the lesson that teach all other bears.
Not to mess with Joe.
I took the pelt, and then I cleaned it up nice, got a nice little hide back into it, and hung it on my wall in my apartment.
fantastic.
How's it smell?
Awesome.
It smells fresh.
That's what's up.
Yes.
Wow,
Nice.
that's a blessing.
It's great. Nah, I bought that joint on Amazon and hooked it up.
Oh man.
Amazon be doing too much. I had to get rid of my Amazon Prime subscription. Shipping being free on like 99% of what I wanted encouraged me to buy way too much crap I don't need. Oh my god.
I leveled up with Amazon, basically because of these new toys. I was
Amazon
like,
Alpha?
no, I got the credit card. So they give me cash back on
Dave
it.
Ramsey don't
They
do
give-
Dave
that.
Ramsey,
No,
don't.
no, he gets cash back
Cash
now.
back. I don't pay the interest.
He gets cash back.
He doesn't. Dave Ramsey's thing on cashback is that you have to spend, what is it, like $1,000 to get like a 10 cents back or
So it's more than a
$1
return you get on your checking account.
But his point is being that you're not going to build wealth through that.
I'm not trying to build wealth. I'm just trying to
No,
get
I'm
some
just telling
easy
you
cash
his-
back.
He's trying to.
He's just trying to tell you why
I'm telling you.
Dave Ramsey doesn't approve. I almost said.
I'm not saying-
I almost said Dad Ramsey.
I thought you were gonna say Dad Ramsey.
Dad Ramsey too.
Papa Ramsey. Lets
Papa
us know when
Ramsey.
we're about to spend money on something stupid.
Papa Dave.
Papa Dave.
Papa Dave.
Papa Dave.
Nothing
Who's
about
also
pizza.
sponsoring the show today.
Hey, shout out Papa Dave.
Papa Dave.
You know.
I'm just thinking about like a barbecue brisket pizza now.
That's about it right
That's
there. Cut that joke. But so you leveled up.
Yeah.
Right on.
Hold up, yeah, they got me even more hooked on Amazon.
Free
Well, and
shipping.
they give me 10% back on like the camera equipment I buy and stuff. So I was
Yeah,
like,
so-
a no-brainer. It was like, that's
It's no
it.
brainer.
Yeah.
Featuring Chance the Rapper.
Ooh.
So Sam, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food,
Yes.
anything I'm not allergic to, which I don't have food allergies. I'm just a fan of good food. If you make food well, I'm gonna enjoy it. Like as you can tell, I enjoy eating food, but I don't snack a lot. I'm not sitting there. I'm not one of those guys that finishes off a bag of chips. It's like, oh, I go to this restaurant and they make their food well. Like I'm gonna polish a plate off. Like that's how I eat. That's the food that I enjoy.
The way Sam orders food is he gets he gets 2 appetizers and an entree. And then he looks at it like it did something wrong to him as he eats it.
I think my favorite part about eating at restaurants is that anytime I order an appetizer, they bring it out to the table and set it down in the middle, and then Joe just like pushes it over to me because he knows that I ordered it just for myself, but the waitress didn't get that memo. It makes the food so much better.
Yeah.
Now,
When Joe presents it to me.
weren't you just recently a part of Telestai's band filming? Why don't you tell us about that?
Oh, so because I'm good buddies with the band, they bumped up. I tried to do a pre-order package. I ended up getting my money back for that too, because that's how the website that they were using works. If you don't like meet whatever the amount you wanted was, they just give everyone their money back. But they were like, yeah, we'll still let you on the song anyways. So there's 2 songs where they do like crowd vocals, where you just do like some whoas in the background. And they were like, yeah, bro, you can do that. And then they didn't tell me that whoever I brought with me could also sing on it, or else I would have tried to bring more people. So my dad is in the music video with me doing whoas and stuff, and he didn't know that he was going to be doing it. So he's just like chilling there in a button up, and like everyone there is like 20-ish years old, and then my dad is like 50. And doesn't look like he would fit in with them, but they absolutely loved him. Like they started playing the track, and they were recording in the actual like booth to get some like B-roll for the music video. My dad was in the other room on the drum set and had put the headphones on so he could hear the song, and he's playing along to this metal song. And they didn't realize it at first because he was following it so well. They didn't realize the live drums were playing, and I was like, "Oh, my dad's playing the song," and they're like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, your dad's playing the song!" Like it was pretty great. They absolutely loved him. But yeah, I'm excited. I don't know when that's coming out, but shout out to Telestai.
Shout out to Tony McLaren.
Shout out to my dad. My dad drove me out to freaking Alba to be past Alba to be on someone's album, a metal album. I'm really excited for the music and for the music video.
So
It's
I
gonna
want
be
to
lit.
give them the proper plug. If you guys don't know who Telestai is, they're a Christian metal band based out of Buffalo, New York. They are super talented. They're a super solid, sweet group, guys. Dope musicians. They always put on a good show. Go check them out at Telestai. You won't be disappointed.
And they know what they're doing in the studio. That was great. For being a bunch of dudes like my age that like to mess around and joke around, like they got a lot done in that one session. We were there for maybe 3 hours, and like a lot of stuff went down. They got a lot of actual good recording time. Like, and they know what they're doing when they're mixing everything.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we're gonna do another take of that.
Yeah.
They said that to me a lot.
One of the things I noticed on Facebook or their social media is that they also you can request them to come to the youth group.
Yes.
And they'll speak to your youth group, and they'll also perform, I'm assuming? Does that
Yes,
know more about
they're
that?
actually looking for more opportunities to play at churches because they like playing at churches because they are a Christian band, and they'll actually do some worship songs during their set. So they'll play their original stuff, but then they'll play worship songs, and it's not like they're going out of their way to make it super metal. Like they're not going to be like, Jesus loves me. Like they don't do that sort of stuff. They play it, and they do
Why
justice to the song. Why not?
Why
I don't
not?
know. I don't know. I would do it, but I'm not them. And they enjoy taking time to actually speak to people. Like their album that's coming out soon, hopefully. It's called Anxiety, and it actually does focus on people with mental health issues like depression and anxiety. Even people that don't have like diagnosable mental illnesses, even if you just struggle with depression in the quiet of your home and you don't let anyone know about it, they talk about that sort of stuff. People that have been let down by people in their lives, they go into it a lot, and their big thing right now is doing more outreach and bringing some light to it. Because people don't talk about it in churches, they feel like if I have depression, I shouldn't have depression because Jesus loves me. But that's not always how your life is. Like life does get you down, and they want to do more outreach and be able to talk to people. So they're excited to be able to play at people's churches and to talk to the people there about how much Jesus does love them, and actually talk to them about the issues that they're struggling with. So I'm excited. It's gonna be big.
And I would say all of us, to a certain extent, have a lot of time invested into youth groups. So why don't you guys want to discuss that for a little bit? We can talk about that.
Yeah, so, Sam, my brother, Joe and I have, we grew up going to the same, in the latter years of our childhood, we were going to the same youth group. And actually, Stevie Beats right here was our youth leader. He was the one that, helped disciple us and shape our faith and push us in the right direction. And now, I'm involved at the youth group in my church. Joe's involved at the youth group here. He's going to be leading that. Sam, he gets plugged in with the youth group here as well whenever he's able to.
I lead worship on Fridays now.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Sam
leads
leads worship on Fridays.
I got thrown into that.
Nice.
Right on, man. Here's a cool question, I think. You've been doing this for some years now, and then you are transitioning into it, but you were in Steve's youth ministry. What have you guys seen change in the way you run youth ministry? Maybe youth culture, how that has changed at all? Because even myself, I've growing up in a youth group with people my age, and then now seeing kids in youth group now who are, much younger than me, some of them, I see the difference in youth culture and stuff. So how have you seen those things change?
Well, for me, as someone, when I got saved, I got plugged right into youth group. It was like the first thing at the time. A friend of ours, Kevin, was leading it, and he just invited me to come the first week. And so I came, and it's a great atmosphere for me because, I'm kind of younger at heart for those of people who know me. Age doesn't change much, except the way you look. But the atmosphere was always and one of the things I've noticed, as far as change go, I would say, as far as change, I would say the culture has changed in the sense that sin has always been the same, but it's becoming more common nowadays. It's becoming more normal nowadays. So if anything that has changed is that these young kids that are coming up now through our youth group are getting exposed to more and more and more sin as normal, as opposed to, when values used to morals used to matter. That is changing because now we're seeing so much over even these past 10 years that I've been involved of the culture that's being created is that, that sin is okay. It's normal. That's what schools are saying because, they don't have Christ first. So they're promoting these different things. And, as far as the culture goes, I think us as leaders, it's important for us to be in tune with what's going on out there and what these kids are being exposed to, and to bring that into them, obviously with the Bible and the truth and the Lord, but to be able to meet them at their level because, I have no idea what they're getting told in school by their peers, and I think there's an urgency a higher urgency, especially, as we get closer to the time of the Lord's return, to really stress to them the importance of Jesus and the Bible and forgiveness.
Yeah, the task.
So,
The task is very real.
Joe, you that's on a side note, it's kind of been a pleasure to, there's a lot, like Noah, I ministered to Noah for many years, Sam for a little while. He was, because Sam went since he was 16, I remember he was drumming, and then Joe, and, these guys right here, which is a super blessing to me, is to see how each one of them, how they've always had the seed planted in them through their parents, through church, not just me, just through the Lord himself, but how, as they've grown older, they've stayed committed. They've stayed committed to the Lord, and they're following his path. Noah is involved at Northridge, is it? Mm-hmm. Sam's a very big part of this church here, New Beginnings. Joe the same. And Joe just happens to be transitioning as the newest head youth leader, which I'm very, very proud of this man. To see that just happened today, for those of you who don't know. But so yeah, I'm excited. So change can be good at times too, as I change out and Joe changes in the sense that it can be good too. So
yeah.
So the thing I've seen change the most, I would have to say, like, as I was growing up, I guess it wasn't as prominent a thing in youth. At least I didn't see it as one, even though I dealt with it myself. Was depression and suicidal thoughts. It seems that, like, as of right now, we live in a very depressed generation, and some of them are almost okay with it, like they're happily depressed, and they don't want to change, which is sad. So they don't see any hope in it.
Right.
And then it's sad to see how much it's glorified now too. There's Netflix shows on it and stuff, and I feel like it glorifies it in a sense. I don't always agree with it, but I feel like that's the biggest thing. Is when I was coming up as a kid, that wasn't I had maybe one person in my school kill themselves, and I went to a small school, and it was sad to hear that. But now it's every week you can hear some kid killing themselves at school, or you hear about a school shooter and stuff, and it's awful. It's awful, and that seems to be the most prominent thing that I see. On top of this plethora of things going on between, it's just they get attacked from all these different sides, all these different viewpoints, and I don't hate any one person. It's just that it offers a lot of confusion. It doesn't offer a lot of answers, and I think that's really what the youth are looking for, is for some concrete answers. And I believe that the Bible is the only thing that's ever going to provide that. So I guess from when I was a kid to now, that's the biggest thing I see different, and that's the biggest thing that I deal with on a regular basis, is kids that struggle with that. So I guess as a church and as a youth leader, I always try to make it a point that it's okay to talk about those things. It's not weird to talk about those things, and I sure as heck want to talk to you about those things.
Right, yeah.
So I guess it's one of those things where it's an uncomfortable topic that we just need to talk about and discuss more often. So
yeah.
The biggest change I've noticed has been that people seem a lot smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just everyone's so much shorter. I don't remember being that small when I've always been a big dude. I don't remember being small in youth group, but everyone seems so tiny.
No, that's
they're adorable, little teenagers.
Because I was working this past year with our 6th grade boys. Now they're 7th grade, and the incoming 6th graders, dude, I'm shocked that they don't look like they could be in youth group. They're teeny tiny. I'm I don't remember even from a year ago my guys being that small.
Right.
Maybe one of them.
You just want to swaddle them up and
But then they come through with this big attitude. I'm no, you
but
belong here.
They've got the attitude to make up for the size.
Yeah. But that's true. Is there anything else to add to that?
I was just gonna.
Okay.
He's the comic relief.
I got you.
I'm shaming them on their height.
One of the biggest things I've noticed is a change in attitude that they have towards youth group and church. Is not so much of a negative attitude at all, but really it's because I feel like I'm in the tail generation, and I'm one of those in-betweeners where I'm just after the cutoff of millennial, but still not really Gen Zer. So like
97, right?
97.
Yeah, that was like literally
So, like,
1 year
yeah.
after where they cut it off.
So like I don't really like have the key character traits of either generation, but I
Y and a half.
I tend to feel more like I can relate to the millennial generation a little bit better than the Gen Z.
a lot better than I can.
But Sam is a millennial. But one thing that like research in the business world would show us is that, you know, my generation and like millennials growing up, they were more like, you know, I will be loyal to this organization, right? So like Apple products, you know, if they're loyal to Apple, they're going to be loyal to Apple. Or if they're loyal to Android, they're going to be loyal to Android. Or sports, and like that type of thing. Where this generation is more like, no, I need you to come to me. I want you to be loyal to me. So like, if you want my business Apple, you have to be loyal to me as the customer. That type of thing. And it's the same mindset with youth group almost. Like they'll come for a whole month to youth group and never show up again because they don't feel like they have to commit to something. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't feel like, well, I have no tie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not necessarily wrong in that because like
They're just free spirits.
they're just like I'm gonna go and do what I want. So that makes a little bit more of a challenge for leaders of like having to be loyal to students, which I believe we should be called to that too. Like, you know, go to a kid's game and stuff, you know, like don't only expect them to come to you and then never invest in them or go to them. You know what I mean? Because like they have enough adults in their lives who don't really invest time in them.
They just tell them what to do.
Or don't commit to them. Yeah, they just have people that tell them what to do. And that's not to say that every adult outside of youth ministry is not committing to kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the case either. But I definitely think that you were talking about they're being hit with so much more nowadays than even I was when I was in middle school. Like the task is becoming so like oh, this is a big thing that we have to take on, which luckily it doesn't have to sit on our shoulders, you know, leave that at the cross. But yeah, that's one of the things that I've been noticing is a little bit of a change in attitude. And then also like the millennial generation was not brought up with, but grew up with this like a negative perception of the church. So the church has always had to work really hard with this generation of you know, showing no, we're not bad, here's why. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's not real bad.
Yeah. With this newer generation, they don't really have a big idea of the church at all. Because a lot of them haven't grown up with church at all. And, you know, have been told by a lot of people that it's a negative thing. But they're the type that they want their own beliefs. So, like, there's a lot of kids who don't have really negative or positive perception of the church. It's a distant thing to them. So there's advantages and disadvantages to that because now, you know, with that we don't have to as hard be like tear down as many lies about the church and show why a lot of churches have been failing, but this is what the gospel calls us to. But there's still the idea of like there's no real concept of what the church is supposed to be. So like why should I be interested in that? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if any of that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. And on top of that, there's so many different denominations and different things too, which could be even more confusing to people.
Right.
And on top of that, now you got all these false religions that are proclaiming to be Christianity, which they're really not.
Right.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like it's just can be very confusing to the modern youth who you know looks at the church and develops a view. You know, and that's why it should always be Christ.
And Christ is the center of it all.
The true Christ of the true Bible.
Yeah, absolutely.
One positive thing I want to throw in, not that anything you guys said was negative, but we always think about, oh, what's different. But one thing I think that's cool about this generation is the level of creativity they have.
Absolutely.
I think that's amazing. Because I have certain kids we have certain kids here that are just gifted in certain things. I'll be like, hey, so if I ask a kid to make a t-shirt, he's just super excited to make it. Or a lot of these kids are developing like apps or creating meme pages, getting like hundreds of followers on Instagram from it, getting paid placements. And they're really coming up with some cool creative stuff that I don't think gets respected enough. we're gonna have to get dogged on.
Yeah.
But like they're really coming out with some really cool, unique things. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other big change is that so like our group going through youth group, like we either got involved or just like afterwards totally just went and did our own thing.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of people that we were going to youth group with that don't do anything on Friday nights. They don't do the college ministry. They don't come Wednesday nights. They may or may not come on Sundays depending on how busy they are. But like
Mhm.
it was really an all or nothing type of thing. Like either you're like going to get way more involved and start serving or not at all.
Mhm.
With this new generation, they're looking for ways to be involved. They're looking for opportunities, and as soon as you offer it to them, because they might not know what's available,
Mhm.
so you have to do some searching yourself and be like, oh, this person does play an instrument. How do I get them involved? This person can design something. Like, how do I get them involved? And when you offer that to them, they're totally down for it because they're looking for where their place is, where they fit, how they can fit in somewhere. Because that's really big right now is how do I fit in?
Mhm.
And when you offer that to them, they love that. And it's
Right.
great to see the enthusiasm when someone's like, oh, I can help in this way. That's something that I didn't think was a really big deal that I knew how to do. And I can do that for the church. Like that, it's great to see how excited they get about that. So
Yeah.
that's the difference that I've seen at least.
Yeah.
More
That
serious one.
And that's a cool point that you bring up. I was listening to this one podcast, the Rethinking Youth Ministry podcast. Dope podcast if you're in youth ministry. Listen to that. But you know,
After
there was listen to ours first. But there was a guy in there talking about like the history of youth ministry and you know how it's changed, like what started it and how it's changed over time. And like it started off like when this guy, I believe in the early 1900s, you know, because for a while there was like scientifically and like in psychology did not point to there being an adolescent stage. It was kids and adults.
Right.
But there's this guy that wrote a book, and I forget what it's called. Like, please listen to podcasts. They explain this way better, and I'm probably gonna misquote things and stuff. But he was talking about this stage of adolescence, but he did more of a disservice than a service to youth ministry and to the teenage culture, because he talked about evolution and the process. There has to be according to like the evolutionary process, there has to be an era of savagery and in each creature's evolution, and he considered the adolescent stage that stage, which is why even still till today teenagers are seen more as a problem that we have to solve, and like free people, which teenagers are not a problem which we have to solve. You know what I'm saying? They're people figuring themselves out, and they need direction, and they need identity, truly. And when youth ministry first happened, it was these people with this vision of there's this group of people now that are not being ministered to in the way that they need. So we're going to go to them. And it was more missional than come to our church. And so they would go into the culture. And then as things changed, it became more program-based, which is, you know, we have youth group on this night, come here, right? And for a while that was working because youth culture, was one type of culture. There was one type of youth pretty much. But as time went on, there became different cultures in youth culture. There's the punk kids, you know, the urban kids, the you know, all different types of kids now. And if you try and hit every group, you're not going to hit anybody. Now is the thing. So you have to figure out like who are you specifically trying to reach. And obviously we're trying to reach every kid.
Right.
But how we do things has to be, you know, we have to target somebody, and target sounds like a weird word when talking about ministry, like you're going to target somebody. But, you know, because back when youth culture became a real known thing, you know, there was a loss of identity for these teens. But then things, you know, as different cultures raise up in youth culture, like they would be like, I relate best to this group, that is my identity now. and they would grow up with that. Now we're starting to see a change again of people not having identity again, because there's this idea of individuality that's coming up a bit more than it used to always, and now you have kids trying to figure out for themselves again what their identity is, and so they're looking at all these places. You know, we have people who find identity in all types of things, and it always seems to fail them because identity can't be found; it has to be given.
I identify as a toaster.
Oh man. But our youth director at Northridge, he was teaching on that. Identity can't be found, it has to be given. And it can only be given by the person who has the original intent of who you're supposed to be. And that's obviously God, that's our creator. So when, you know, the best way, like 80s, 90s, to reach, you know, youth culture was to talk about, you know, repent, you know, you can be saved from your sins. Now that sin is becoming more widely accepted, right? Like you were saying, you know, if you say you can be saved from your sins, they're like, why? Why do I need to be saved from my sins, right?
Because it's normal.
Right, it's normal.
Yeah.
But one of the things that is wrapped up in the gospel is also identity. You know, you're given a new name. You're washed clean. You belong to someone now. And that's something that I believe youth culture now is missing out on, is belonging to the person they were always supposed to belong to. And so that we're able to use to reach them now. So it's still the same gospel, but articulating it in a way to reach these people. You know, Paul says, I become all things to all men. So using the same gospel to reach kids for the gospel, just articulating it a different way is something that I think is super key, and that's a big change in youth culture and ministry.
Amen.
Now, that might have been long-winded, but...
No, that's right on, and I like what Joe was saying too. I think he pretty much hit the nail on the head with allowing kids to use their gifts and talents for him, because, you know, that really helps a person when they feel like, you know, they're making a difference or they're involved, and it gives them more of a reason to stay plugged in as they get older, because they're getting discipled now. Joe's directing them, hey, we're going to use your talents for the Lord. And as they grow and grow and grow, they're going to continue to say, well, I've been doing this for so many years, I'm going to just stay right here and do it, instead of, you know, and it'll apply to their jobs and their everyday lives and stuff too, but, you know, it really give them a reason to stay plugged in, you know, which is...
Well, like we had a specific kid that
nowadays.
we had a specific kid that was helping with sound in here, and now helps with sound on Wednesday nights sometimes when he's needed. So it definitely, I didn't want to call out anyone specifically, but yeah, Mike, when you give someone an opportunity to use what they know how to do and to grow their talents and give them some experience, then they get plugged in other places in the church doing similar things because they see how it can benefit others and how much they enjoy it. Because that's something that I've always found to be a truth, is that if you enjoy doing something, you want to do it. So if you're good at something, which usually is something that the Lord has given you a gift in, you're going to enjoy doing it and you'll enjoy serving. So then it's not another task that you have to do. It's not, it's another job that I do. It's a job that I do at church. No, it's, I enjoy doing this, so I'm doing it at church. And you mentioned discipleship. Actually, something really interesting that I noticed about our church in particular is that since it is a smaller youth group that we have, there's not like 50 leaders or anything. But what I've noticed that we've had continually over time is that there's always been like a Paul and a Barnabas. There's always been the youth leader, but then someone that gets put alongside them, and then they end up taking the reins next, and it just keeps pushing up that way. So like it's Kevin and you, and then you and Joe, and now Joe even has someone coming up alongside of him to support him. And it's been really interesting to see how that's always how it works, is that there's always someone there younger that is supporting you and also learning from you and getting more experience and getting plugged into leadership. So I actually really like that about our youth group. So even though we used to have like a million people like volunteering to be youth leaders.
When I took over, there was like 12 people, and there was no specific leader after Kevin left, and that's why David put on David's heart to anoint me as the youth leader because it was confusion.
Yeah.
Like, who do you go to about this and that?
Mhm.
So he recognized that. And,
Yeah.
So it was cool.
That is
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, that was an annoying time.
Joe was with me
Yeah.
through the thick and the thin, though,
Yeah.
and there would be a million adults at times, and then there's nobody. Joe was always right there alongside of me. So
Shout out
Much
Joey
respect.
Beats, J Rose.
The big thing is being consistent.
Right.
The big
Yes.
thing is being consistent
Yeah.
because I think if we can all just take a minute, like reflect back on our own lives when you were a kid, what was something you didn't like? You really didn't like being disappointed. If your mom told you she was going to bring you McDonald's and she didn't, you would be ticked.
I'm
Yeah.
still mad at that.
I'm still mad from when it did happen.
Because you set, but the thing is, you set the expectation that you were going to do something for them. You were going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing here. You have to be consistent.
Amen.
That's what I didn't like when there was 100 people because
Yeah.
it would come once a year
Right.
and then expect all this miraculous stuff to happen. I'm like, this person doesn't even know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't start a relationship with that person, any other person. Why do you expect this young
Absolutely.
child to do it?
And kids can sniff out fake, like, tomorrow.
Dude, that
Yeah.
is absolutely true.
They really
Teens,
can.
teens are so good at recognizing fakeness,
They really
and they will not open up to you.
Right.
They do not want you around.
You get the
You
most
can't even.
attitude.
They won't laugh at a joke that's genuinely funny if they can sniff out the slightest scent of fakeness. They want genuine people.
And then the other issue with the inconsistent people was that they would come back and not realize that, like, I'm an adult now, so I'm not at youth group as a kid participating anymore.
Right.
I'm there to, like, help
serve.
out. I'm serving, and
They're
then
the best.
the last time that they remember seeing me was as a kid in youth
3
group.
years ago.
So they'll literally,
Years
like,
ago the last time they served.
right, they'll talk down to me in front of other kids, and I'm like, you can't do that. I'm trying to be.
Take me aside.
Well, it was literally. I remember one time in particular. This is what messed me up. I was not happy. We were.
I want names. I want to drop.
I promise I won't use any names because I don't want to put anyone on blast like that. But I was sitting in the hallway and I had kids with me. It was a lock-in, and I put
the lock-ins.
the lock-ins are always when it goes down. But I put myself out there because I knew that they wouldn't want kids hanging out there unsupervised. And I was like, I know that I'm only like 17, 18, but I'm not a youth group person anymore. Like, I'm here as a leader to help out and
You
serve.
were in college at that time.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll serve. So I'm like, I'll sit out there with these obnoxious teenagers at 2 a.m. to make sure that no one says, oh, they're unsupervised.
Mhm.
And then I had someone walk over and they're like, hey, so all the adults are actually in there. If you guys wouldn't mind moving in there. And I was like, oh, I've got it. I'm holding down the fort. And they're like, no, we need them to be supervised by an adult. And I was like, okay, cool. We'll go move in there.
Wait, was that me?
No, it wasn't you. You've never done that to me. This person, like,
youth ministry.
this person then, like, went to bed. They stopped watching people. Like,
They were all cold.
so then I'm still sitting in there, the only adult watching all the kids, and it was like, you just undermined my authority, and now I gotta watch all these kids because you want to go to bed. Like, don't play me like that.
Ain't no sucker.
And then they never showed up again after that.
Nice. Yeah, dude. If there was one thing I could tell people who were like, yeah, man, I'm youth man, I want to get involved in youth man, baby. It's, if you can't commit, don't
Don't do it.
don't do it. Like there's a few things I would say. First of all, this is not your ministry, it's Jesus' ministry,
Right.
and you're a tool in it. That's the first thing. Second thing is you're just a tool. And the second thing is if you're not spiritually healthy, you cannot positively impact the spiritual health of the ministry. And then the third thing is, again, that first one I said of if you can't commit, don't even start. And I would say my not expectation but standard is I would want people to commit to 4 years. High school.
Yeah.
I would want people to
Yeah.
be there through high school so they can invest in the same kid their whole high school career.
Right.
That would be the preferred thing. Obviously things happen and life gets in the way and
Yeah.
sometimes people can't you know, they thought they could commit, but 2 years later something happens or they're
Yeah.
called somewhere. You know, obviously that we can't worry about.
It's tough to ask that of people too, you know,
Yeah.
because like we're really on fire for the Lord, and not to make ourselves sound self-righteous or we're better than anybody. It's not it at all.
Mhm.
This is where our passion is, and maybe that's not where your passion is.
Right.
Then you got to be able to recognize that.
Yeah.
Know that. Know yourself. Know yourself.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
So I was just gonna make a reference somehow, but you gotta know yourself, and if you can't make it, just be honest. Maybe you can do something little, like
Yeah,
maybe you can just run sound every other week to give that guy a break. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like
and that's valuable.
yeah, that's super valuable.
We need that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
You want to come help us sweep up after? Thank you. I need that.
That's the one thing that also a lot of people don't realize is they're like, yeah, I want to get involved with youth group, and I like want to teach, or like I want to like lead worship because they see things that seem from an outside perspective glamorous, but really aren't truly,
Yeah.
and they're like, I want that, but you know,
The same people that are
So-
teaching and leading worship are also
Yeah.
cleaning the
we
bathrooms
need
after
people to
everyone
clean.
leaves.
We need people to just be greeting team. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we need things that seem small, but Scripture tells us you know, I don't know the exact quote, but you know, the hand can't say to the foot, I don't need you.
Right.
Like one, just because somebody's teaching doesn't mean they're more important or more valuable than the person who's just greeting. You know what I'm saying? But people get that idea in their head and they're like, well, if I'm not doing the thing that I want in
the
ministry,
glamorous
then
one.
then I don't want to do ministry.
Well, you also bring up a good point that I was thinking about is that it's not all fun and games. Like sometimes people have this idea of youth group as being like a fun ministry.
Mhm.
I don't want to say that it's not, but literally it can go from, so you're playing like Foursquare with a kid and then next you're sitting next to them and they're crying next to you because like their dad hits them. Like
Yeah.
it goes from 0 to 100 real quick, and you can't be the type of person that is only there for the good and can't handle when a kid is sitting there telling you like, I hate myself because I smoked pot again and I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
Or I stole money and I don't know what to do, like I want to repent but I also don't want to like deal with the consequences, like, and you got to deal with some real experiences and being there to counsel people. So
Mhm.
like it's not always I'm the man, I just gave this great teaching and now we're gonna play
Yeah.
basketball.
No. Oh man, dang! I signed up for the wrong movie.
The one thing that gets me is, and Steve, I know you can relate to this as well, and probably you guys too, but people always see the finished product.
Mm.
Now, when you get that new iPhone, you see the finished product.
Mm-hmm.
But if you open an iPhone up, you see the little pieces go into that thing,
Mhm.
you're like, I cannot build that iPhone.
Yeah.
The same goes here. You did not
Yeah.
see the months and years of planning. Like, I just announced to the congregation today that we just got done planning a year's worth of youth group stuff.
Yeah.
Now people are just going to see the finished product of that. They didn't see me and other people in the room just sitting there for 4 or 5 hours at a time, just staring at my computer, like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And then creating like forms, do
Yeah.
all like a little administrative stuff, but we do it because
Yeah.
we love it and we want to. But they don't see the process; they just see
Yeah.
the final product.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that's consistent throughout life. With anything you do, people always see the final product and say, "I can do that. I want to do that." And I'm like, "Sweet, let's team up. Let's do it, man."
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks of the process, you're like, "Bro, I'm not about this."
Yeah, and that's one of the key things about, there's a reason why certain people are in the positions that they are in that you view as glamorous, because they're willing to put in those hours behind the scenes. Steve has been doing youth ministry for years. That's so much prep work for teaching and for, you know, making sure this person's here and this person's here and they're cool with running this. And like you said, like getting together with a team and planning on years worth of content. I just did that with Northridge Youth Ministry. We had a 1 day planning retreat, and we were there for hours just on our computers, just like figuring out what we're going to teach on. And now that doesn't include we have a guy who's like positions like program director. That doesn't include his job of like, now each week he has to figure out games. He's going to figure out who's doing worship. He's going to figure out like with them, like, can I trust you to make sure that you pick songs and that your team is ready to play. He's worrying about lights. If you have a youth group with lights and stuff, like you got to worry about that and the soundboard and not just games that you think, oh, that'll be fun, but like games that you can be like, you know, this is gonna work well for high school. This is going to work well for middle school. Snacks, if you want snacks. Like, there's so many things that go into just one night of youth group. And that doesn't matter.
And some games that are fun aren't good.
Right.
Like, there's a game that we haven't played in a while, and I'm glad that we haven't, because the last time that we played it and they talked me into playing, I literally like threw some like middle-aged women across the room. Yeah.
Game?
Yeah.
That game is so fun.
It's so much fun,
so
but
fun.
I'm always terrified I'm playing with someone that's literally a third of my size that I just threw across the room to try to get them out.
Back to the finished product. Or the whole like process.
Mm-hmm.
You play the garbage can game. This place reeks. This place
Yes.
reeks. And
The garbage can game
then
is
we
the
gotta
worst.
clean it up. But everybody else is already outside chilling.
Yeah. Dang.
But it just smells like
The
the
garbage
high
can.
school gym just crammed all in one room.
The gym and the locker room,
Yeah.
just all together. It's bad.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's not okay.
That was one of the funnest games, so.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, that game was real fun.
Snacks. Kids love snacks. They love eating. But not everyone's like, I'm going to take the time to go out and I'm going to buy 100 little bags of chips for people.
I'll vacuum the
Sarah
crushed
Tarantino
chips.
does that.
She's
Yeah,
really good
shout out
about
Sarah.
that. She's good
Shout
about
out to
Line
Sarah
number
Tarantino.
2.
Shout out
Sarah Tarantino.
Sarah Tarantino.
We're just giving shout outs to everyone today.
Shout out anybody who took the time afterwards to vacuum the crushed chips out of the carpet.
Yeah.
Because I know I was one of those kids growing up in youth group that I saw a crushed chip in the floor.
And you make
And,
it worse.
and no, but I acted like, check around, make sure nobody saw me see that, and then I walked away. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I wasn't the one to drop the chip, but I definitely
You didn't
wasn't
make
the
it
one
your
to eat
problem.
the
You're
chip.
like, that's
Yeah,
not my problem.
That's not my
over there.
problem.
That is not my job.
Yeah,
Make sure
no.
the logos are showing.
Cleaning is bigger than people realize. I know, like, for the longest time, I was like, I know cleaning's not my ministry because I hate cleaning. But there was a time where I literally was just like, I'm not involved in ministry anywhere, and it's been a long time since I've been involved in ministry. I should do something. And I was like, you know what? I've been sort of like falling back a little bit. Lord, put me where you need me. I'm going to start off with cleaning, though, and just do whatever you want with me from there. And I did that for, I think, like a month and a half, and then all of a sudden, all these opportunities started springing up, and it's that whole idea of being faithful with a little bit and being given more to do. So there's people that want the big deal all up front. They're like, I want to be the youth leader, or I want to be the pastor of a church. I started attending last week. I think I could do this. But it's being faithful in the little things and seeing where it takes you and where God opens up doors. Because it went from I'm cleaning the toilet on Sundays after church to now I'm going to be helping out with worship over here and helping out with worship on this day. And oh, you know how to play this instrument? We need that. And I got involved in worship ministry on every day of the week that we have church doors open now. So like, and that's just where the Lord has led me. But He hasn't led me to do anything crazy. Like, I manage the Facebook page for the college ministry, but I don't teach regularly for the college ministry.
Right.
I think I filled in one time, but it's not like the Lord has said, your thing is to teach every night. That's not where it's at for me, at least. I know music and I know music well, but there's brothers that I have that know the word much better than I do. And I'm totally fine with the fact that they're the ones leading the teaching times that we have, because I know that that's not where my strength is right now.
Right.
I'm hoping to get there, because the goal is to always grow and expand yourself. Even if I never get the chance again to teach, to be able to have the knowledge to be able to teach is where I want to get to. But I think each of us has brought it up at some point that playing to your strengths is a really important thing.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I want to do this, if that's not where the Lord wants you to be.
Right. Absolutely.
So guys, this conversation went on quite a while. So this is a two-parter for you. The first part, I hope you enjoyed. That's just talking about youth ministry in general. The next one's going to be really cool, entertaining. We're going to talk about our favorite memories
Yeah.
Noah and I do a little tandem segment, and we have Sam and Steve hit us with some very deep and spiritual content.
Yeah, so
Love it.
cut that. Be sure to listen in to part 2 of this episode of the podcast. We'll call it episode 2.5 or something like
Yeah.
that. We'll call it episode 2.5. Sam's still being a guest on there, but be sure to listen in for that. All right, bye guys. Bye. I don't know.